Okay, so I want to try to do this one just holding it as opposed to and some background again change. So identity and actually names that we use to identify ourselves, meaning your actual first name, your second name, and how that I think is such an old paradigm, if you like. It's like we're given a name randomly by our parents because they like something, as in a name, and then surname obviously is another given. Not to mention why only just fathers and not mothers, and uh, and that's it. That is us for the rest of our apparently living days. And when you think about it, at least when I think about it, I'm like, that's conditioning cemented. It's like something so random and utterly outside of your consent and will and decision and desire has been given to you, and then you expect it to carry it for the rest of your, like I say, life. And so you have obviously piece about the surname, which is like a family inheritance. So in that surname, there is a history of your family, and again, just your father's side, and all what that carries. Mostly. I mean, of course, there is always a good few stories there too, and and a good narrative going along. Many, probably, usually far too many, not so good narratives and stories that you energetically with that surname very likely carry with you too. And then obviously your first name, and which is slightly less laden with history, or that has nothing to do with you. Well, obviously if you think of past lives and all that, which is certainly what I believe in, yeah, there is stuff with your name that is possibly only yours that you carry past lives wise, but not sure about that. But back to my original point is that given thing to you is with you, for the rest of your life. And I mean, what is ever in our lives, in our identity for the rest of our lives? The whole sentence for the rest of our life is full of badness. It's full of unhealth. So an example, I think I might just need to pause this and actually want to record it like this, as everything was aching. I really don't have muscles anymore in my body. So I was saying nothing, or I was saying it, whatever in your life, in our lives, stays the same. It's against nature. And I don't mean nature versus nurture. I don't mean those determinist, whatever, schools of thoughts I'm sure I don't subscribe to. I don't know much about them anyway. But this notion that anything stays still. And yet we're given a birth name and a surname, like I say, and then that's it for the rest of our lives. I think that's wrong, basically. If however many minutes, 3 minutes into this, that's not clear, just to make it clear. So, two things. I have a friend, a dear friend. I do occasionally have these people in my life, and hopefully this one will be around for the rest of my days. And so she's quite younger than me. Anyway, so she recently changed her name and first name, not surname. And I've been really amazed at how hard actually it was, and it still is for me to call her that new name. And it's like, I don't see her as that name. I just don't. And I mean, when I look at her photo, just her still photo and the name, yeah, beautifully go together. But I know her and I only know her relatively recently, like a year or so. And by her birth name, the one that her mother gave her. And even, and I was struggling. I mean, I make a point not to say it and to use the new name, but it always feels so weird. And I'm sure in another year, if not earlier, I will get used to it. But I was just bringing that up, because I think that's an amazing thing she's done, and she has actually changed maybe not physically yet, but vibrationally, absolutely without doubt. And yeah, so hold on, let me pause again. Some more changing angles. But it's amazing how I'm struggling to call her the new name, and how my emotions are so invested in the first name, the name I knew her by until recently, and called her by that name. And it kind of annoys me because it's not, it doesn't really speak of me as someone who's liberated, at least as liberated and liberal as I'd like to think I am, and progressive. And so in theory and in principle, I completely support the decision, and I think it's amazing what she's done. I love it, and yet I'm really struggling. So this thing of names, like I say, is really dangerous. Essentially, it's like I don't have children, and certainly won't have them, but it's almost like I would like to invite parents to consider changing their children's name throughout their lives. Well, until they're then grown-ups, and then they keep doing that themselves. And as for legalities, maybe there could be something like, I don't know. I'm not offering any new laws or anything, but I just think it's a healthy way to identify ourselves, which is to keep changing our name as we feel and see fit. So now about me, I love my first name, but I'm not going to say it here. I think I mentioned it in other places somewhere. And I love that I'm here using She Maverick. And on another platform, I also don't use my name up front, even though people do know me who work with me by my name, my first name mainly. But a funny thing has been happening with my second name, my family name essentially, as in I'm not married name, just my parents' name, my father's surname essentially. As much as I adore my parents, after some turbulent and tumultuous times we had in the past, I do adore them, and I adore the name, and I do adore them, and all they stand for, and all the good and bad history that comes with that name. And like I say, it's mainly it's my dad's, obviously, but yeah. But my point is, I really, really, really do not feel like that person anymore. And this has been relatively recent, possibly the last 6 months, maybe even longer. That when I see my name, like on documents and just some other kind of official communication, because no one calls you by your surname, I'm always like, oh, that is me. And it feels alien. And that is that the piece about my own individuation, which is what this channel is about, maverickness, which is essentially about separating yourself from, and now I'm going to bring in a little bit of astrology. So this is the journey between Capricorn to Aquarius via Chiron. So that's, if you think of planets, astronomy, that's the journey. That's the between Saturn and Uranus. There is Chiron that doesn't that's the Chiron path orbit, and Chiron is the maverick. So you kind of need to, and Saturn and the Capricorn are the old order, and Uranus and Aquarius are the liberators, are the ones that are the future, the new order, the new world, the brave new world, or whatever. So for us to become, and it's individuation and emancipation, the archetypes for those two processes and qualities. So if you want to become an individuated, fully whole WHOLE person, you need to do this journey to leave behind the history, which is Saturn and Capricorn, and family history in particular, but also all the other traditions that don't serve you anymore, and then walk that really scary kind of maverick path of like no one around, you're just completely alone. And particularly when if you walk past people who are like the opposite of cheering you on, like either booing you, right? Like, "Ooh, look at you, going around surprised. Who do you think you are?" Whatever. Sorry, getting into a character. And then, until you arrive at that freeing, emancipated version of yourself and the place, which can also be quite scary because usually you won't find anyone there because it's only your place. There's no one there. That's the point. The point is to be in that place alone. But once you made that journey, that aloneness becomes you. you are the aloneness, but all of a sudden you can see so many people around you. You're all alone, but you're all connected, and you're all, doesn't mean that you're not interacting, doesn't mean that you don't do things together, but there is that sense that you are now full and whole, and you're just, yeah, just passing by, exchanging whatever, but you're not actually stopping and forming anything, merging, no merging. Okay, so back to the name and surname. In my case, this is, I think, why the surname is the piece that is bothering me, not my first name, because yeah, my first name is Maya, by the way. So I will say it now because I want to say a few words about the first name, how I identify with it. So Maya in what's the Hindu, right, religion, is means the veil of illusion, and that is very much my experience of how the world sees me. And this is, if you're into human design, this is a fifth line profile. So I'm a 3-5, and the fifth line means that people, you're like a screen, like a cinema screen, right, where movies are played out. So people only see what they project, otherwise you're a blank screen. So for them to actually engage with you, or to even see you, they have to, to pay attention rather. It's only when they project something on you, and that's the purpose of the fifth line. So my purpose is not to be seen, not because there's anything to hide. I'm not. This is why I have a YouTube channel. So I show me, and whoever walks past this and see this will project God knows what on this, and that's, I made peace with this not a long time ago, but a few years ago, I think, couple of years ago maybe, kind of made peace with it. And it does make everything which I'm talking about often here, difficult relationships mainly, because you just know. But with us, with the fifth lines, it's even more so than with any other. And so we kind of become these masks, or these screens, like I say, that people project anything on, and you know that you're the person behind it, and actually that this other person doesn't see you. But the point is not to actually care about that, not in a kind of way I don't care, but in a way that it doesn't matter. That's the piece about wholeness. So if you're whole, you don't mind if other people don't see you. Just, it just doesn't matter, because you do not need that so much. Okay, I think it's 12 minutes, and that's it. Okay. Oh, this is day 9.